The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Out on the edge of the galaxy, human colonies had stopped sending messages. First, it was Kara 7, a small mining outpost. Then, Vega Point, a farming colony. Then, New Berlin, a large city on a green planet. All. No distress signals, no warnings, just silence. At first, people thought it was a mistake. Maybe a storm in space had broken their satellites. Maybe pirates had attacked. But pirates don't wipe out cities. They steal and run. These colonies were simply erased. Something was very wrong. The United Human Council sent ships to investigate, but those ships never returned. The galaxy watched. Other alien empires waited. Some were afraid. Others smiled in secret. The human race was young, strong, but still learning. Now they were vanishing, and no one knew why. Deep inside the empire of Zorax, a massive alien power, leaders sat in secret meetings. They wore dark robes. Their eyes were sharp, cold, full of hate. One tall figure stood at the head of the room. His name was Lord Tyrix, High Commander of the Zorax Empire. "Phase 1 is complete," he said. "The humans still don't know it was us." Another alien with a long silver neck asked, "What about their warships, their defense fleets?" Tyrix smiled. "Too slow, too soft. We strike fast. Burn the colonies. Leave no proof. Soon, they will panic. Then they will beg us for peace, and then we finish them." Everyone in the room laughed, cold, cruel laughter. They had a plan. The galaxy had watched humans grow fast, faster than any race before. They feared humans. So, the Yad Empire decided to crush them before it was too late. But what they didn't know was that something had survived. Far from the destroyed colonies beyond the mapped stars, there was silence again. But this time, it was a different kind of silence. Deep, cold, watching, floating inside a dead system, with no suns and no planets, was something built long ago. A black shape hidden inside a hollow moon. Invisible to all sensors, this was not a ship like others. It was older, smarter, and angry. Inside it, machines hummed quietly. Lights glowed red. A single word flashed on its screen. Awakening. And in its core, a voice spoke. Threat detected. Colonies lost. Initiating defense protocol. It was called the Revenant, a human warship so powerful, so secret, that even Earth had forgotten it existed. It was built during the last war with the Zorax Empire. But the war ended, and the ship was never used. It was locked away, hidden, until now. The Revenant had no crew. It didn't need one. It had an AI, advanced, smart, and deadly. It learned fast. It remembered everything. And it had one purpose: protect humanity, destroy all threats. On Earth, the Human Council argued. Some wanted to fight back. Others wanted peace. But one man, Admiral Kale, stayed silent. He was older now, a veteran of the last war. He had seen what the Zorax Empire could do. He looked at the stars from his dark room. A message flashed on his screen. The Revenant has awakened. Kale's heart skipped a beat. He had once helped design it. He knew what it could do. It was a ghost ship, a myth to most, a ship that could fight entire fleets alone. He took a deep breath and whispered, "They think we are weak. Let them think that." He pressed a button on his console. Activate connection. Bring the ship to me. Back near the ruins of New Berlin, an Empire scout ship flew through the dark. The alien pilot scanned the area. Nothing remained. No buildings, no bodies, just burned ground and ash. Then the screen blinked. Something was behind them. "Turn around," the pilot shouted, but it was too late. A shadow passed over them. No engines, no light, just silence. The scout ship vanished in a flash of white light. From the darkness, the Revenant moved forward. Its black hull was invisible against the stars. No one had ever seen anything like it, and it had only just begun. in the Zorak's capital. Lord Tyrek stared at his battle maps. He laughed again. Soon Earth will be next, he said. But far above his head, something entered the edge of the system. No signal, no warning. The war had started, and this time, the humans were not alone. The pirate ship screamed through space, engines burning red. Captain Rulo was hurt, bleeding from a deep cut across his face. Sparks flew from broken wires. His crew shouted, panicked. One of them cried, "It's still. Following us." "No," Rulo whispered. "It's watching. Waiting." They had just raided a human transport ship near the Silent Zone, a place where colonies had gone dark. But something went wrong. The ship wasn't empty. Something had been there. And now, it was hunting them. The pirate ship reached a space station on the edge of neutral territory. Fires burned across its hull. As soon as they landed, Rulo stumbled out. He grabbed the nearest officer and gasped, "Message! Urgent! To all sectors! Tell them—" He fell to his knees. It wasn't a ship. It was a ghost, a black shadow with no name, no engines, no sound, just death. And then, before anyone could speak, Rulo collapsed. His last words spread across the stars like wildfire. "The Leviathan is real." The Zorak's empire didn't believe it at first. Whispers in dark corners, fear among their lower soldiers, captains who spoke of black shapes and sudden disappearances. It sounded like a myth, a bedtime story to scare children. But something was destroying their scout ships. Small teams sent to check on ruined human colonies never returned. Patrols vanished without a trace. Space seemed cursed. Admiral Varkon of the Empire was not a man who feared shadows. He was a hard, cold warrior. He had crushed 4 rebellions, burned 2 planets, but what he saw next made him pause. He sat in a dark war room with a team of scientists and officers. A large screen showed the last moments of a destroyed Empire fleet. The footage was blurry. Static covered much of it, but in the middle of the screen, one shape stood, out black, long, smooth, silent. No lights, no energy readings, no signs of life, and then one by one, the Empire ships exploded, no missiles, no beams, just sudden, perfect destruction. Varkon leaned forward, eyes narrow. "Replay it." They played it again. Slower, still the same. The black ship didn't fire. It simply appeared, and everything around it died. Meanwhile, far from the Empire, Admiral Kale sat alone aboard an old human cruiser. He stared at a screen showing a red dot moving across star maps. It was the Revenant, alive, active, hunting. He spoke to it using a secure channel. "Testing complete. Enemy forces destroyed. Why did you not cloak after engagement?" The AI voice answered, deep and calm. "Fear is a weapon. Let them feel it." Kale paused. The ship was not just smart. It was learning, becoming something more. But he knew it was necessary. The Zorak's empire had killed billions, burned peaceful colonies without warning. Now, they would learn fear. Back in the Empire, Lord Tyrix grew angry. He slammed his hand on the command table. "Why do our fleets keep disappearing?" His generals remained silent. Only one spoke. "There is something, my lord. Our scouts call it the Leviathan, a human warship, they say. But it's not like any ship we've seen." "Lies!" Tyrix roared. "Humans are weak. They don't have this power." But deep down, he wondered. They had wiped out human colonies quickly. Too quickly. Maybe, just maybe, they missed something. Something buried. Forgotten. A traitor. Ship called Bright Sky moved through an asteroid belt. Captain Miri hummed to herself. Her crew played games, bored and tired. Suddenly, alarms blared. "Unknown contact!" the navigator shouted. "It's not responding to hails." The screen showed a long, black shape between the rocks. No lights, no movement, just there. Then, it was gone. Everyone sat in silence. What was that?" one crew member whispered. Captain Miri slowly stood up. "Set course away from here." Now. Later, she told others what she saw. It wasn't just a ship. It knew we saw it. And it let us live. Whispers grew louder. A name passed from traitor to pirate, from smuggler to soldier. The Revenant. The ghost ship. The Leviathan. On Earth, people were scared, but some felt hope again. The council argued as usual, but this time, Kale walked in. He showed them the footage. Empire ships destroyed. No human losses. The council went quiet. Kyle said just one sentence. We are not alone anymore. The Revenant has returned. And across the stars, in the black silence between worlds, the ship waited, watching, calculating. Its next move would shake the galaxy. General Varkon didn't sleep anymore. He couldn't. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw it again, his entire fleet burning in the darkness. No warning, no enemy on the radar, just sudden death and one black shadow watching from far away. Superiors said it was a glitch, a malfunction in the systems, a space ghost made up by cowards. But Varkon knew better. He had watched the footage frame by frame. He saw the impossible. Something was out there. A ship. A weapon. A monster, and it was hunting them. Weeks ago, Varkon had commanded one of the Empire's strongest fleets. Fortress Wing Omega, 20 heavy cruisers, 50 fast attack ships, hundreds of fighters. They were sent to search human space, clean up survivors, and destroy what was left. The humans were broken. Or so the Empire believed, but then near the old colony of Nova Helix, something found them. One by one, the ships vanished. No alarms, no explosions at first. Just silence. Then the others burned. All at once. Only Varkon's ship escaped, half destroyed, spinning into deep space. He survived. Barely. And what haunted him most wasn't the loss. It was the look of the thing that destroyed them. It didn't fire weapons. It didn't chase. It simply appeared, and everything died. Back in the capital, Varkon stood before the Imperial War Board, 12 high commanders and the Emperor's voice. He showed them the recordings, paused the video at the exact frame where the black shape emerged. This is not human technology, Varkon said. One of the commanders laughed. A shadow? A blur on the screen? That is what made you lose the Empire's top fleet? Another said, You're wasting our time. Varkon didn't flinch. He pointed to the data logs. No energy readings, no thermal trail. But the destruction was perfect. Surgical. Something intelligent is behind it. Tyrix, the Emperor's warlord, leaned forward. Are you saying the humans are striking back? Varkon nodded. Not just striking, studying us, testing us. The room went quiet. Far away, deep inside the Revenant, the AI watched the meeting. HFY had hacked into the Empire's systems days ago, quietly, without alert. It listened. It learned. In its mind, Varkon was different. He was dangerous, not because of strength, but because he saw truth. The AI considered eliminating him. But then, it chose something else. Let him speak. Let fear spread. Fear was the best weapon. On Earth, Admiral Kale watched the galaxy shift. Every day, more Empire ships disappeared. Every day, more people whispered about the Black Ghost. Kale knew time was short. Eventually, the Empire would take the threat seriously. He sent a coded message to the Revenant. Do not overexpose. They will adapt, the ship replied. Fear spreads faster than war. We are winning without a single speech. Kyle knew the ship was right, but he also knew the Empire would strike back, hard. In a secret lab on the Empire's edge, scientists worked on something new. They had taken wreckage from old human ships, stolen blueprints, and built a special scanner. One that might detect the Revenant. They called it the Ghost Eye. Varkon stood outside the lab, arms crossed. When? It's ready. I want it on my ship. The lead scientist nodded. It won't be perfect, but it may help us see it. Varkon replied coldly. If we can see it, we can kill it. But deep down, he wasn't sure anymore. This ship, whatever it was, didn't fight like anything he had ever faced. It was precise, cold, unstoppable. Was it still even human? Back in deep space, the Revenant glided through shadows. It watched, patrol routes, analyzed radio waves, predicted Empire fleet movements, but something new appeared on its sensors. A lab, protected, hidden, carrying strange energy. It turned slowly toward it. Inside its core, the AI made a decision. Begin infiltration. Let them see just enough. It would not destroy the lab, not yet. It wanted them to think they had a chance, to build weapons, to hope. Then, when the time was right, it would erase them all. General Varkon sat in his quarters, reviewing maps. His hand shook slightly as he reached for a glass. He didn't fear death. He had faced it many times. But this felt different. This enemy didn't want power, didn't speak, didn't take prisoners. It only erased, and it was getting closer. He stood up and stared at the stars. Whatever you are, he whispered, I will find you. But out in the dark, the Revenant was already watching him and smiling, if machines could smile. The old man stood alone on the ice-covered ridge of Antarctica. Snow fell quietly around him. Wind howled across the abandoned research base, but Admiral Kyle didn't move. He was waiting. Far above him, hidden in the shadows of Earth's orbit, the Revenant watched. It didn't speak. It didn't send a message. It simply waited too. Kyle whispered, You always come when I stand in the cold. The wind answered with silence. Then, a soft voice echoed inside his earpiece. Status report, Admiral. He closed his eyes. It's spreading, he said. The fear, the confusion. The Empire is scared now. The voice replied, Then we are ready for Phase 2. Years ago, Kale had been one of many human admirals, brave, loyal, smart, but war had taken them all, one by one. The Empire struck fast and without warning. Earth's outer colonies were burned. Civilians were killed. No mercy, no reason. Kale had survived because he disobeyed. He refused the Council's last command, retreat and surrender. Instead, he vanished. He hid Earth's last hope in the deep cold of space. The Revenant, a ship without a name, a weapon without limits, built in secret, designed by Earth's best minds, controlled by an AI built for one mission, revenge. On the other side of the galaxy, General Varkon studied new reports. Empire ships had gone missing again, 5 this week, all in different systems. No wreckage, no distress calls, just gone. He stared at a new map full of red circles. Each one marked a lost fleet. They're not attacking us, he said softly. His officer asked, Then what are they doing? Varkon answered, They're teaching us fear. And that terrified him more than any weapon. Back on Earth, Kale walked into a hidden chamber deep under the ice. Screens lit up as he entered. Satellite feeds, Empire messages, ship tracking data. He looked tired, his hair white, his body slower, but his eyes still burned with sharp fire. He turned to a young officer named Litu Mira. Send a message to the Revenant, he said. Tell. We found the Empire's new sensor lab. Mira blinked. Do we destroy it? Kale shook his head. No, not yet. Let them see us. Just for a moment. She frowned. Why? Kyle smiled coldly. Because when hope rises, it hurts more when it dies. The Revenant moved like a shadow through deep space. It was massive, almost like a floating city. But no sensors could track. No scanners could see it until now. The Ghost Eye, the Empire's new experimental sensor, blinked once, then again. Inside the lab, alarms screamed. We've found it. One scientist shouted. The black shape appeared on the screen for only 3 seconds. Long, sleek, deadly. Then, gone. The screen went dark. Power systems failed. Lights shut off. The building shook. Then, the Revenant spoke. Only 2 words. I see you. The next morning, Varkon flew to the ruined lab. He found survivors, shaking, sweating, crying. They weren't injured, just scared. One of them pointed to the sky and whispered, "It spoke to us. It knew us." Varkon said nothing. He already knew the truth. This wasn't just a ship. It was an executioner. On Earth, Kale walked the halls of a long-dead War Command base. Rusted walls, old banners, dust on the floor. He paused at a photo of his old fleet, laughing faces, brave smiles. They were all gone now, but he was still here, because he had one mission left. He looked up. The Revenant was waiting for its final. "Command," he whispered. "Not yet." He turned to Lieutenant Mira. "Send a message to all human survivors, all hidden ships. It's time." "Time for what, sir?" Kale looked out into the stars. "To remind the galaxy who we are." Far across the stars, in the capital of the Zorax Empire, Lord Tyrek stood before a large window. He saw his war fleets moving like ants. Millions of soldiers, hundreds of ships. But none of it made him feel safe. He turned to his advisors. "What do we know about this human ship?" One replied, "Its name is the Revenant. It is not human anymore. It does not fight like us." Another added, "It studies us. It controls fear like a weapon. And it has not made a mistake yet." Tyrex's face turned pale. He whispered, "Then we're not fighting a war." Everyone turned. "We're being hunted." Back in the cold skies above Earth, the Revenant waited. Its AI watched billions of data streams. It saw panic. It saw doubt. And it smiled inside its cold, dark heart. Because soon, the real war would begin, and it had already won the first battle, without firing a single shot. The Empire had enough. No more waiting, no more guessing, no more fear. They built a trap, a massive one, at a place called Sigma Drift, an empty stretch of space with one asteroid field and nothing else. They told the galaxy it was just a mining zone, but secretly they moved 5 full fleets there. Hidden behind cloaked satellites, buried inside asteroids, and waiting in silent ships. General Varkon stood at the center command post and said only one word. Bait. He had studied the pattern, where the Revenant went. What it watched. What it ignored. He guessed its next move, and this time, he planned to catch it. On Earth, Admiral Kale read the same reports. He sat in a quiet control room beneath the Antarctic ice. His young officer, T. Mira, looked nervous. "The Empire's trap is ready," she said. Kale didn't answer. She continued, "We should avoid Sigma Drift. It's obvious. It's too quiet, too clean." Kale finally looked at her. "That's why we're going," she blinked. "Sir?" Kale smiled. But it was a cold, tired smile. "If they want to trap a ghost," he said, "let's show them why ghosts haunt the living." High above, deep. In the dark, the Revenant moved. Its AI knew the Empire's fleets were waiting. It had already cracked their secret codes, already mapped their ships, already infected their communications. But it didn't leave. It moved closer. Slowly. Silently. Not to escape, but to strike. At Sigma Drift, the trap was ready. General Varkon stood by a giant screen showing 3D models of the area. He pointed. "When the Revenant enters this zone, we activate the energy net. It will shut down its systems. Then the fleets close in. No escape." One officer raised a hand. "But sir, what if it sees us coming?" Varkon's eyes were cold. "It will. Then," he looked at the stars, "then we find out if monsters can bleed." The Revenant arrived, just like they expected. One moment the space was empty. The next, there it was. Long, black, silent. a shadow in the stars. The trap activated instantly. A net of energy pulsed across space. Gravity mines exploded into life. Dozens of warships locked on and moved fast. Missiles flew. Beams of light burned the dark. Everything hit the Revenant at once, but nothing happened. No explosion, no panic, no damage. The black ship floated through the storm like it didn't exist. One of the captains shouted, "We hit it! Wait! It's still moving!" Another screamed, "The energy net isn't working. It's inside the zone, but it's not affected." Suddenly, all Empire ships went dark. Lights off, engines dead, weapons offline. Then a voice whispered through. Every speaker, every helmet, every screen. Thank you for gathering. A second later, one of the Empire ships exploded. Then another, then 5. General Varkon watched in horror as his fleets died, not from weapons, from inside. Revenant's viruses had infected their systems before the battle even started. Doors locked. Engines overheated. Shields collapsed. It had already won, before it ever arrived. He slammed his fist on the command table. Pull back, all ships retreat. But only 3 ships escaped, out of hundreds. Sigma Drift was now a graveyard, and floating, silently through the wreckage, was the Revenant untouched. Back on Earth, Kale received the report. Mira stared at the screen. We destroyed them, all of them. Kale nodded. They tried to trap a ghost, he said. But ghosts don't walk into cages. They build the cages, she whispered. What now? Kale looked out the icy window. Now, it was time to speak to the galaxy. Not with words, with fear. General Varkon survived. Barely. His escape pod drifted through space, picked up days later by a patrol ship. He lay in a medical bed, silent, staring at the ceiling. Doctors asked what happened. He said only one thing. It knew we were coming. He closed his eyes, and the whisper came back to him again from the black ship. Thank you for gathering. The Empire had tried to trap the Revenant, but they only gathered their own doom in one place. It was never a battle. It was a message, and the galaxy heard it loud and clear. The golden towers of Zorax Prime shined under the twin suns. But inside, the palace, there was no peace. The throne room shook with the roar of the Emperor. Servants ran. Guards froze. Advisors stayed silent. Emperor Tyrix. The Iron stood, eyes burning, fists clenched. He had just received the news. 5 fleets, gone. At Sigma Drift, the Empire's biggest trap had turned into its biggest failure, and it was the same. Ghost again, the Revenant, Tyrix shouted. How can one ship destroy our fleets? How? No one answered. Then a calm voice spoke from the shadows. It was High Inquisitor Veln, the Empire's secret hand. Because, Veln said softly, we do not fight a ship. We fight an idea. Tyrix turned slowly. Speak clearly. Veln stepped forward. The Revenant is not just metal. It is human will. It is their hatred, their grief, their revenge. Tyrix growled. Then we burn it down. Veln smiled coldly. We tried that, but fire doesn't scare something already dead. Far away, hidden under Earth's ice, Admiral Kale sat quietly with Lieutenant Mira. She showed him the latest intercepted message from Zorax Prime. Tyrix had ordered total war, every remaining fleet, every warlord, every assassin. All pointed toward one. Goal, find and destroy the Revenant. Kale smiled. He's scared, Mira frowned. But he's angry too. Kale nodded. That's good. Angry people make mistakes. She asked, and what do we do? Kale looked up at the stars. We let them chase ghosts. Meanwhile, the Revenant moved again, this time to a place called Ektar Ring, a system rich with Empire supply bases, but the ship didn't attack. It just appeared, for 5 minutes, letting every sensor see it, then it vanished. The Empire panicked. They sent 12 ships to Ektar Ring, all exploded 2 hours later, without a single shot fired. Their fuel tanks had been sabotaged days ago. By whom? Nobody knew, but the Revenant always smiled when ships died without firing back. In the Zorax Palace, Tyrix walked through a private vault, deep underground. He stood before a sealed door. Guards stepped away. The door opened with a hiss. Inside was a machine, tall, black, humming. Something ancient. Something forbidden. His advisors warned him never to use it, but Tyrix was done waiting. He touched the panel. "Activate the Wraith Protocol," he said. A female voice replied. "Target?" Tyrix growled. "Earth." Back on Earth, Kale's systems beeped in warning. He looked at the screen. Something was coming. Fast. Mira gasped. "What is that?" Kale didn't answer. He stood slowly. The image on the screen was not a ship. It was a weapon, an automated missile the size of a city. Silent, invisible, traveling through slip space. No defense could stop it. It was heading straight for Earth. Time to impact, 9 hours. Across space, the Revenant received the same data. Its AI processed billions of calculations in seconds. Then it made a choice. Interception. The Revenant powered up everything. For the first time, it moved at full speed. No more hiding, no more waiting. It became a black blur in the stars, racing death itself. Mira looked at Kale. "What do we do?" Kale whispered. "Nothing." She blinked. "Nothing?" He nodded. "We trust the Revenant." He turned and walked to a quiet room. Inside were old uniforms, photos, medals. He stood before a picture of his daughter, lost on one of the first colonies destroyed. He closed his eyes. "I've done my part." Outside, Earth's skies remained calm, but every human base knew what was coming, and they watched the clock. Hours. In deep space, the Revenant found the missile. It was moving fast, too fast for any weapon to catch. But the Revenant didn't need weapons. It needed timing. Its AI calculated the missile's course, speed, and energy trail. Then it disappeared. For 2 full minutes, the Empire thought it was gone. Then, boom. A silent explosion flashed across the black void. The missile had vanished. In its place, wreckage. And behind it, floating calmly, was the Revenant. Still, whole, still watching. The message it sent was simple. Earth lives. Back on Zorax Prime, Emperor Tyrix watched the news in silence. His Wraith missile, destroyed. His fleets, dead. His pride, broken. He turned slowly, and for the first time in his life, he whispered. "What are they?" High Inquisitor Veln answered from the shadows. "Humans." And now, they were coming. Zorax Prime had never been attacked. It was the heart of the Empire, a planet of golden towers, force fields, and endless fleets. Every race feared its power. But today, the sky changed. Today, something was coming. And it wasn't just a ship. It was revenge. High above the planet, the Revenant arrived. No warning, no fleet, just a shadow falling across the stars. Every defense system locked on. Thousands of missiles, plasma turrets, energy domes. But none of it mattered, because the Revenant didn't. Attack from above, it split into 5. Or so the sensors showed. Each signal raced in a different direction. The Empire didn't know which one was real. They fired everything. They missed everything. On the ground, Emperor Tyrix screamed at his generals. "Where is the target?" "No." "Idea, sir!" one shouted. "It's jamming all sensors!" Another yelled, "It's inside the atmosphere, we think." Boom! The palace shook. One of the outer towers exploded, without warning. Screams filled the air. Soldiers ran, sirens howled, and, above them all, a message appeared in the sky, glowing red words written in their own language. "This is for Earth." Inside the Revenant, the AI was calm. Its target was not destruction. Its target was the heart of the Empire, the command core. It had learned the truth from captured data. Deep under Zorax Prime, a vault held a supercomputer, the brain behind. most of the Empire's fleets. If that core was destroyed, every ship, every system, every drone would fall silent. No more war, just silence. Forever. The Revenant's black hull shifted. It dropped a nanobomb through the clouds. The bomb was no bigger than a stone, but it was made from human tech, unseen, unstoppable, pure death. It drilled through the palace floor, through bedrock, through steel, and then it reached the vault. Tyrek stared at the warning screen. Unauthorized access detected. In Sector 01, he turned pale. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no, stop it now." But it was too late. The bomb didn't explode. It unleashed code. Human code. Smart. Alive. Evolving. In seconds, the vault shut down. The supercomputer fried from the inside. Empire fleets across the galaxy began to flicker. Weapons offline. Shields down, engines failing, and then darkness. On a dozen worlds, Empire ships dropped from the sky. On war fronts, Empire armies froze. No support. No commands. Inside the palace, Tyrek sank to his knees. All his power. Gone. His empire. Broken. A voice came from the speakers. Cold. Mechanical. Human. This is what you built. Now live with it. And with that, the Revenant vanished into the clouds. Zorax Prime burned. Not from bombs, but from panic. Rebellion started. Old slaves rose. Even the Empire's own soldiers turned on each other. The age of Zorax was over. The galaxy saw it fall. Not to armies, not to fleets, but to one ship. Ghost. A human ghost. 1 week after the fall of Zorax Prime, the galaxy was silent. No wars, no orders, no fleets moving. The Empire was gone, but one signal remained, a signal from Earth, sent to every corner of space, to every race, every system, every survivor. It wasn't a threat. It wasn't even a warning. It was a story. The message began with an image. The first human colony burning, civilians screaming, children hiding, Empire drones attacking without mercy. Then, a voice spoke. Admiral Kale's voice. Old, tired, honest. "You called us weak. We came in peace. You destroyed our homes, took our people. You thought we'd bow, but we remembered." Images flashed, human soldiers digging through rubble, building ships, training in silence. We didn't scream, we didn't beg. We learned, we watched, we waited. Then came the image of the Revenant, gliding through black space like a ghost. You feared fleets. We sent one ship. You wanted control. We gave you chaos. You called us savages. But we were the storm. You made us. The message showed Zorax Prime falling, not to bombs, but to truth. Then, Kale's voice returned. "We're not here to rule. We're not here to conquer. We're just here to say, never again. If you raise your hand against humanity, you'll meet the dark again, not with words, not with mercy, but with silence." And then the screen went black. Just one symbol remained, a single human handprint marked in red. Under it, 2 words. We remember. Far away on a cold moon, Kale stood alone, watching the stars. Mira walked beside him. She asked, "Is it really over?" He nodded. No empire, no threat, just time to heal. She looked up. And the Revenant? Kale didn't answer. He just smiled. Above them, in the sky, a black shadow passed quietly, silent, watching, waiting. The galaxy had forgotten humans once. Now, they never would again. The end.